The reason why you are gluttonous is because you lack discipline. I think, especially for men, there has to be an honest discussion. Like, you do it because of ego, right? That whole idea of like, I'm trying to do everything. I get it. I know because I've done it. It's ego, if we're being very honest with ourselves. And while you get to inflate your ego and do all this stuff and go everywhere and be in everybody, it doesn't mean that you're doing something healthy for yourself. And as you spend time, you start to realize like what you're giving away and what it's costing you, right? Whether it's your time, whether it's your energy, whether it's your emotional, physical sanctity, if you believe in that kind of stuff, there's a price to pay. Any indulgence in this world, you're going to pay a price. And I think especially with things like bedroom stuff, that price can be very steep. Very steep.
Mentally, you mean?
Physically too. If you catch the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every time you go in, you roll some dices.
It can be taxing.
You roll some dices.
It can be taxing.
Right? So there's that cost. And, that's something that I had to reckon with a couple years back, where I started to ask myself like a lot of questions in regards to like, why am I doing this? Where is this coming from? What does it cost me? Because it doesn't feel great. That high, because it's an addict's high. It's an addict's high.
Yeah,
it's an addict's high.
But promiscuity also wrecks men. But as men mature, as men grow in life, I don't think a guy like Patrick is looking at the guy who slept with 100,000 girls like, oh, he's the man to me. I think and the point that I want to bring up in regards to that, the promiscuity point, is that when we're asking about what's best for society, we have to talk about the consequences. There's consequences for women, but as men, I cannot tell you how many guys I know who are my friends, who they're in the hundreds of girls. They have children outside of wedlock. There's STDs. Yeah. There's effects of it. We got to stop acting like sex has no consequences.
There's a karmic consequence to this. You don't get away with it. You never get away with it. So you'll find many guys who are out here playing these games at some point decide, I'm ready to settle down. I'm ready to do the right thing.
And what do they want?
And
what do they want? They
want
want a
love,
woman with no blemishes, with no past issues, with no baggage, with no troubles, with no issues from their past relationship.
And even if you get that woman, because of who you are, and because you have, triggered a set of consequences, she might end up hurting you, even worse than you hurt the other people, because who you are is teaching her how to treat you.
Or that karmic energy follows your child.
Or it follows your child. And we live in this YOLO generation where everyone's saying you only live once. Well, you may only live once, but the consequences of your actions ripple on through time. So what kind of legacy do you really want to leave? Because we call it, being young men, sowing wild oats and all that kind of nonsense. But those oats grow.
I know dudes who are like, I love married women. You're gonna risk your life because you got an urge? Where is the self-respect? Where's the discipline? I'm not saying that having a life in the bedroom with people is necessarily bad. Understand why you're doing it. Understand, can you discipline yourself? Do you really have that ability? If you don't, then you got a problem. You got a problem. And it's hard to acknowledge that, but it is. And what grown men will tell you that have gone through it and who have stopped, they'll tell you, man, yeah, a lot of it was not good.